So today is Rajagurya Yoga, the most confidential knowledge. So this is the ninth chapter, the 50% of Bhagavad Gita. So let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanakashalakaya Chakshurmitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Anvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatru Abhyascha Kripa Sindhu Avevacha Patitam Nam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Putale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatesha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So what did we do last chapter? So this from chapter 7 onwards, we are doing on the bhakti. Okay, it's a process of bhakti we are looking at, right? So in the last chapter, there were some 8 questions by Arjuna asking Kim Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna, and where this Paramatma reside in the heart. Okay, so it was, and also what happens, how can they remember at the time of death, right? This was the things and the principles. So when he has explained the process of bhakti in the chapter 7, then Arjuna wants more elaborations. So finally here he answers all the 7 questions briefly, but because he has already explained, and Prakriti and Kala is telling, it will come again. Whereas remembering Krishna at the time of birth, he concentrates in this chapter completely on that. He says the one who can remember him at the time of death, Tasmat Sarve Kaleshu, then he will surely come to me without any doubt. But the question comes, how to remember him at the time of death? So only if you have practiced it throughout your life, you cannot remember him. And also he says, what bhava you have at the time of death, that's the thing you will have in the next birth. That means that comes like a kaleidoscope in your time, and what all you have done, no, that will be the thing which will destiny for your next birth. So then there are bhaktas who have done the yoga, yogic and mishra. So and then that also he explains in this particular chapter. And finally he says the pure bhakti is the one who can remember him all the time, because Dhananad bhakti is the one. Then he explains the difference between material world and spiritual world, where he says material world is dukkhalya and temporary, and whereas the spiritual world is eternal and blissful. Okay, so then supremacy of bhakti, he talks the one of the things. So this is what we saw. That is and he says without any doubt. So we don't have any doubts in that. And unalloyed bhakti, he says. So, and of course, I said, no, depends upon your karma and desires, you get your destiny. And it's like a chess set, the life. No matter what you are, you will end up in the box. Whether a knight or bishop or thing, you come back into the box, the chess set like that, you come back to this material world. So now what is this chapter all about? It talks about, it's a king of knowledge. The Bhagavat Aishwarya Jnana. So Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. You're going to see the secret. What is the king of education? We're going to see. And here Krishna talks mostly on the ways to approach it. Satatam Kirtayanto Maam. That is all the time think of him. And Kirtayanto is to do the Kirtan chanting. And sweetness of exclusive devotion, man mana bhava mad bhakto, finally ends that. So here we are going to see more about bhakti. What is the devotion? See, everybody says to do bhakti, but we should know clearly what do you mean by bhakti and how to go about it. And here Krishna is explaining about the ways to approach it, right? So the Supreme Lord said, Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So the question now, again, he talks about non-envious. And why did Krishna chose Arjuna to give this knowledge on Gita? Many people ask, why didn't they give to Duryodhana or to Dhritarashtra and all that? Because they were all envious of him and they were all demonic nature and they will never accept. Whereas Arjuna was a true devotee and he was never envious. What do you mean by envious? As I told you earlier, no? I mean, it's like jealous, but it is not jealous. It means I like what you have, but I don't like the fact that you are having it. I should be the one to have it. That means I don't like the other person having it. I should be the one to have it. That is what we mean by envy. So knowing Krishna is a privilege of the human life, as I told before. This knowledge gives us complete freedom from miseries of life. That's what Krishna says. Knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of the material existence. You know the miseries of material existence, birth, death, old age, and disease. So these are all of us are entangled in that. So he says, and they might say, people know I am very detached and all that. But you might say that you are detached from this material world and nothing will affect you. But the very thought that you are attached to that thought of detachment, that also it's like a subtle form, you are attaching to that thought that I'm not bothered about what's happening and all that. I'm very pious and I don't dislike anybody. But the fact that I'm attached to these qualities itself is some kind of bondage, a subtle kind. So Krishna wants to give us relief from even such subtle bondage as well. So once one becomes very advanced as they keep hearing about Krishna. But you should have heard it properly, cultivate it properly, and from the right source, isn't it? Otherwise, this vairagya, it will become something like Shamshana vairagya. On Mataji was telling us about this Shamshana vairagya. How it happens is like, say, for example, that somebody dies in your family or in your circle and you go to the graveyard. And you also attend the antim rites and all that. The mood will be, because you've gone for such a thing and it will be like a renounced nature. You'll be so moody and you'll think, what is this? This life is something like so uncertain and nothing is same. And you're in same, and even when you come home also, you'll be talking like that. That is something like Shamshana. But after some time, what you do, you think, let us take a break from this. Let us switch on the TV or you'll take a cup of coffee and you'll come away from that mood. That is known as Vairagya for that movement. That's all. You are not detached in the complete Vairagya. So if we get attached to Krishna, then we do not bother about what is going on outside. So why it is so great? So this is what he means by that. If you are not with you, we need to get out of this miseries of the material world. So he is giving us this Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Avyayam, that is everlasting. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, self-realization, it is the perfection of religion. And it is everlasting and joyfully performed. Sushukam Kartam. Avyayam is everlasting. So Raja Vidya, why it is secret? You might say, see, it is given openly in the book, okay? And I also put it in the PPT and all the presentation material. But what is so secret? But actually, this is the very benefit which we get from knowing Bhagavad Gita. What is that we are getting from Bhagavad Gita? That is the secret. What is it? It's a king of education. What is it? It's not like we have been throughout our life. We do undergo some education or the other, isn't it? From primary life, primary standard, then we went to middle school, then to high school, and 12 years we were in the school. Then we get many certificates. Then the society is teaching us many things. But that is not king of education. Actually, that is required, of course. That's a material education that requires, whether it gives us some skill, how to live in this, maintain our body and soul. But do we read Bhagavad Gita every day of your life in school or the college? We have not done that, isn't it? So whatever education we get, it is got relevance in maintaining our body and soul. It's a set of skill we get to maintain it, but it's not a true education. So what is this king of education become? This king of education is for our life, spiritual life, and it is a secret. What is the level of secrets? Because we are telling about, first thing, what did Krishna say? He said Guhyam, that is, we are the soul and not the body. So who am I? So it was what we are addressing. Who am I? I'm actually not this body and the soul. And I've been changing my dress birth after death. Birth. Okay, I'm taking bodies from birth to birth. And next he talks about, where am I coming from? We are a part and parcel of Krishna. So we have come from the spiritual world because we wanted to enjoy and we wanted to love. So he created this material world and we have come here. So that is where we have come from. So we need to go back, isn't it? So that is the Guyataram, and that is how to go back is what is saying now. How to go back? I need to do devotional service. That is these are the three levels which was never revealed to us before, unless we learn it from the master. So this is the king of knowledge which we are getting. And how did I become impure? How did I get? Because it says it's pure knowledge, no? And direct perseverance, self-realization. So pure knowledge, because we had got conditioned in this life, no? Because of the material world. And only, and also by chanting, we can slowly remove our misgivings. Whatever the impurity we have, we can relieve it by chanting the Harinam mantra. That is the joyful thing which it is very joyfully performed if you do that. In fact, Rupa Goswami says, about the sinful reaction. So he comments. He says it's not that easy to understand the sinful reactions which we get from the fruitive activities. There are about 4 levels of sinful reactions. It is like, now something has, since I've already, like a seed which has been put in, and the plant has fruitified. And now we are suffering because of that karma. And that is the prarabdha karma, which we are now, some will be born in rich family, some in poor family. That is about a prarabdha karma we have got, and we are enjoying that or suffering that in this birth, right? But there is some more which will be taking up effect in this life. It will take some time. It may be very fast or it will be some. That is known as Palan Mukha. That kind of sins also there, which we need to face in this life itself. But there are certain sins, like Kuta thing, they say reactions will fructify after a long time. If the seed has been there, but might take many births to enjoy that consequences. And then there's a bija which is still in the seed-like form. It is yet to come. So these are different levels of the, since from many births we have gone, that is the reactions we might will be enjoying or suffering that. So he says it's not that easy to understand this science, but if you take up to the Krishna consciousness, if you take up this devotional service in this life itself, then it's easy to erase these reactions from all accounts. So this is what Krishna is pointing out. So that is what he says. You can, if you know this knowledge, you can be relieved from the miseries of the material life. Okay. So that is why we need to know. So those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes. Okay. He says, it's not there. If you are not faithful, if you are not sincere, then you cannot conquer the you cannot return. You will have to return to this birth and death in this material world. So you cannot attain me. So qualifications are what? You have to be non-envious and you have to be faithful. But if you are always doubting, no, see, a person when he is all the time doubting, then you cannot help it, because he will doubt everything. You will doubt the scripture, you will doubt you will doubt all the things and what's happening. So for them, we cannot help at all. But you need to have some faith, In fact, with some faith only we are living in this world. Otherwise, how do you think? You have some faith in you in certain, like, you put your money in a bank, say you have some faith, that the bank will maintain your money. It will handle your money. So in every walk of life, we have certain faith. We have faith in our parents, we have faith in our friends, and like that. Otherwise, we don't live. But so we should not lose faith. So that's what first Krishna says what to do. That means we should not become envious. We have to cultivate this knowledge. And then he says, tell us what not to do. We should not lose faith in Krishna. So what we should do, we should not be envious, and we should cultivate this knowledge, that is knowledge for devotional service, and we should not lose faith in Krishna. So this is we should not doubt. We should try to understand what is said. So what did we see? What was the most confidential? Confidential first one is how spirit, we know the spirit, soul and body. It is useful for liberation. Just knowing that is not enough. We should know more, because that just theory won't help us. So now he gave us the more confidential one. What is that? Knowledge on the Lord. We learned about his energies. He's maintaining this material world and spiritual world. Then he told us how the spiritual world is blissful and thing and not the Kaliya. And then he's telling us how to attain enlightenment, self-realization in the chapter 7 and 8. Then now most confidential. What is chapter 9 deals with pure bhakti and it portrays the glories of the Lord. So now we are going to see the most guhya. Okay. And the qualification of understanding that is we should be non-envious and we should cultivate faith in the Lord. So now is the next 3 verses, we are going to be, Krishna is more explaining about his energies, and we should, it might look different, it might look apparent, the contradictions, but you can just go through that. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So he says, this all thing, his energy is pervading everywhere, but he's not in them. It's like it looks contradictory, but this is how, in Shastric language, this is known as he has got inconceivable potential. That is, we cannot understand so easily his energy or his potentials. Yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mistake. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. So he has created this entire world, but is not here. So this universal cosmos is his form. Okay. The eyes are his sun and moon, maintains the mountains are his bones, trees and things. They're all. And as he told in the last chapter, no, chapter 7, that pearls are strung on the neck. The string is not seen, but is holding the pearls, isn't it? We saw in chapter 7. That means he is holding the whole thing. And then the whole sun is moving in certain orbit, the earth is moving, the other planets, and we saw all the different Swargaloka, Satyaloka, and all that. Everything is created, is the source of creation, and it is all managed by his energy. And as the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, note that in the same manner all beings resting. So what does it mean by this analogy? You see, the wind is blowing everywhere, no, in the sky, but it doesn't go beyond the sky, isn't it? It will be within that. So like that, his energy is everywhere, and it is rest. It has got certain rules and thing he has made. So it will be operating in that manner. Like if you have a washing machine, no, you have programmed it, and only thing, if you switch it on, it will work automatically. First, it will put the water. Then
Hello.
Hello, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So that is how it is done. So he says, as the wind, it is rest in me. The whole cosmic order is under me. My will, it is manifested again and again, and then annihilated at the end. So he only creates it, then he maintains it, and then he will annihilate it in the end. So all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. So this is his inconceivable potential. But everything is under his control. Maya Daksha Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetunane Kaunteya Jagat Vipari Vartati. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again and again. So when it gets annihilated, it goes back into the womb of the Mahavishnu, and then he will create it, and I think it's all by his will, and it is working under his direction. So we should be really aware of that, and who is doing it, who is behind the entire thing. So when you see that he is the one who is having such a inconceivable potencies, it is natural, isn't it, that he is the supreme object of worship. And we know, and this is his relationship with the material creation. It's not that it just came like a big bang. No, the whole world didn't come like that. It was created by the will of the Lord, and it is working under his direction. Nothing like a just came out of at the whims or things. Some scientists say like that, but it is not like that. So avijnana Nante Mam Moda Manasham Tanum Ashritam Param Bhavam Vam Ajnato Mama Bhuta Maheshwar. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominant over all that. So even there are, this is all he says, but still there are people who think that when he came in the material world, when he came in the Dwapara as Krishna, they think he's just an ordinary person, an ordinary human being. They never think that he is a supreme Lord. Okay. And they are the fools because they don't understand. And okay. And actually why he has come in human form, so that he can relate with the devotees. That's how now we can relate. But his form is transcendental. And what all the he had done some superhuman acts, no? He had, as a Krishna, no? Right from his birth. When he was born, when he appeared, he did lot of superhuman thing. He lifted the Govardhan hill. Then so many demons were killed when he was still young, and all that. So, but people, fools don't understand. They think he's just another human being with some powers he has. That's all. They don't think he's the supreme Lord. So why then do some people not respect him? Why is it so? He now explains. Mogasha moga karma no moga jnana vishetsaha rakshasam asurim chaiva prakritim mohinam. So those who are thus bewildered are attracted by the demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. So they have the Asuric Bhava, Rakshasam Asuric Bhava. They are demonic and ascetic views they have, and such people cannot hope for liberation. So, and they cannot cultivate the knowledge. So you have one end like that kind of people. So he's explaining. He says, no, he has such a lot of potentials. That is, he's so powerful. He's the one who is everything. He's in everything and all he has been explaining. But still, people cannot believe. They don't want to believe. They have this kind of nature as a demonic, and they cannot believe there's a God. So they have such demonic views. So for them, you cannot hope they will get moksha. They cannot get liberated. They will be caught in this cycle of birth and death all the time because they have not cultivated the knowledge. So that is one end. Okay. And then there's another one. Then he talks about the Mahatmas, who are the topmost. Mahatmas though Mam Pata Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha Vajanti Ananya Manaso Natva Bhutadim Avyavyam. So, O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So they are completely convinced that He is the cause of everything, and He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is, He is the one who has created, who is maintaining it, and who will annihilate as in time comes. But He is independent and He is not. He's neutral. Is beyond the modes of nature, but he is not in the Maya. So this is what he's, and his energy is inexhaustible. He's pervading everywhere, and he's inside us also as Paramatma. So he says such devotees, they are known as Mahatmas, and they are not in this. They are Daivim Prakriti Ashraya. They have taken this shelter. They are engaged in devotional service, and they are in the taken shelter of the Supreme Lord. So when they are under His shelter, the material nature cannot affect them. Modes of nature cannot. They will be in the divine nature, even Prakritam. They are in the protection of the divine nature. Okay, and then what they do? They always engaged in devotional service. Okay, Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Jnatva Bhutadma Abhyavyam. Abhyavyam means they always do that. And who is this personality? Here he is the Madhavendra Puri. He was the actual spiritual master. He comes under the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. And he was all the time thinking and worshipping the Lord. And he won't even go for begging or anything for food. Unless somebody gives him, he will have, otherwise he won't. So there's a lot of pastimes of him. He is Madhavendra Puri is there. And Satatam, what do they do? Satatam Kirtiyanto Mam Etantas Tad Drita Vrata. They are firmly enduring. They are always worshipping. Namastyanscha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasati. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this is what their activities are. So one end we saw fools who deride him because they have the Asuric Bhava. They don't believe in him. They don't believe in God. And so they don't think that he is God. So he is the Supreme Lord. They think he's just an ordinary human being. That is one end. And we have the other end is the Mahatmas. Who are they? They are always great devotees. They know very well that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and he is the cause of everything. And what are their activities? They are always chanting his glories, endeavoring with great determination and bowing down before me, and they perpetually worship me with devotion. So we have an example in our life also, that is Srila Prabhupada, who was the epitome of a Mahatma. He was not just a Mahatma like Mahatma Gandhi, but this is on the devotionals. He was all the time, and he led everybody in the path of Krishna consciousness. He was such a, so we have two extremes. We saw no Mahatmas, they are in the diving Prakriti. They have taken the shelter of the Supreme Lord, so they will be in that energy. So Pita, I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandson. I am the object of knowledge, purifier, syllable Om. I am also the Rik Veda, Samaveda, and Ajurveda. So he is the source of everything. And he is the seed. He is the life force in all the living entities. And as I said, no, he enters, he has created and enters into each universe as a Karbodaksha Vishnu. And to each and every living entity is the Shirodakshana Vishnu. That is a living force, life force. Otherwise, you cannot, he is a Paramatma. So he says, I am the father of this, mother, support, and everything, object. So otherwise, we cannot move. And he's in the Veda, syllable home, and also the I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, refuge, and most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal sea. So we should understand this. See, this is the knowledge we need to understand. This is what we have to be clear about. And that's what the Mahatmas are very clear, the pure devotees. And he says, I control heat, rain, rot, I'm immortality, I'm also death personified. So if you don't understand, if the Mahatmas, if you don't understand him as a Supreme Lord, at the death time, he will come and take everything from you. He will be death personified. So at least on the death time, you will see him as the Kala, or within the life, you could have worshipped him and considered him as the Supreme Lord. So both his being and non-being are in me. So he is clearly spelling out everything. What he is, what thing, and we need to, this is the knowledge. If you understand this, then you will be free from the miseries. It's like that. That's what he's talking here. Okay. The morning is they want to be God, they delude. So they're always chanting and very nice. So people may not realize Krishna in their life, but at the time of death, I come and take everything. So idea of giving this whole material universe is to become Krishna consciousness, to establish the relationship with Krishna. But Krishna will do some adjustments. So let us not worry about death now, as we do not know where we. So some people think, no, why worry about death? We don't know where we'll go and all. No, let us enjoy, let us do this. So, but ultimately, they are in the illusion. So, great acharyas will never worry about death because they're all the time in Krishna consciousness and they're in his shelter. So, they are not bothered in which way they go, on which path, because they know Krishna will take care of him. So, this is what. But there are people who have studied Vedas and they drink the summer juice seeking the heavenly palace, worship me indirectly. So we saw the Mahatmas who worship him as directly as a Supreme Lord. But there are people who have studied the Vedas and they saw the rituals and they practice all that and they are attracted to seeking the heavenly planet. So they worship accordingly, and actually it is an indirect worship. So, and because of their endeavor, they will take birth on the planet of Indra or heavenly planets and they will enjoy the godly delights. It tells that there are people who do that. But when they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Because all those planets are not free from repeated birth and death. So, through Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. And what is that flickering happiness is something like a free will. You go up to the heavenly planets and after you complete your quota of the happiness, you come back to this mortal earth. So it's like the free will. You go up and come down, go up and come down. It is only flickering. Happiness is only flickering. Ananyas chintento mam he jana paryupashate tesam nitya bhuktanam yoga shemam vahain. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. What does he assure here? He assures that yoga shemam, he takes care. Once the they devotees go under his shelter. They meditate on him all the time when they are worshipping him. For him, for those devotees, he takes care. He doesn't, whatever the material needs or whatever the needs, he does it. He won't thing. Whereas those people who did the Vedas, no, I mean, rituals and they went to heavenly planets, it is known as Abhidhi. It's not a proper Vidhi. They have done it indirectly. So it is difficult. But if it is joyfully performed, people who do this, they for them, he takes care of everything. So we need not worry with that. And there are a lot of pastimes in this, and we shall. Yeah,
Mataji, in the
yes.
previous slide, before this one, what was the meaning of soma juice?
Okay, Soma juice is that is, it's given in the Vedas, that they go to a moon planet and all. There are some rituals, which you can understand, and if you follow those principles, you can easily go to the heavenly planets. That is there in the Vedas. If you follow the regulations and you do as per the rituals and all that, if you study them, then you can drink the Soma juice in the, I think in the planet of moon planet or something, and you will have the heavenly pleasures you enjoy. But that is only temporary. After your quota of punya is over, you have to come back to this planet of to the earth planet, and again take birth there. That happens. Again you have to come back. That is means you are not free from the cycle of death and birth and death. So
Okay,
that's what he says. Yeah, after heavenly pleasure, you return to this planet again. So through the Vedic principles, they achieve whatever happiness you achieve here, when going to the heavenly planets is only flickering happiness. Because it's like a avidhi, it's not the proper way, because they are doing indirect worship. But people who do worship me with devotion, I carry what they like. So whatever they need, everything he takes care. He does it because they are already in his shelter. So he says, I preserve. He gives his verdict here, isn't it? So we need to have faith in Krishna. That's all it's required. So whatever man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti is really meant for me alone. But it is offered without true understanding. Because many sacrifices people do know as per the Vedic rituals. All the items, what are we sacrificing? Everything is his. All the things, item, butter, ghee, the fire, everything in this. So we think that we are doing all the sacrifice, but it is offered without true understanding. We should understand that we are doing for Krishna. That is what is required. Yeah, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods, and those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among the such beings, and those who worship ancestors will go to ancestors Pitraloka, and those who worship me will live with me. So he clearly says, it's not that you will, you won't get any benefits, but you'll get to those planets, you'll go to those higher planets, but you will not come to me. Only if you worship me alone, you'll come. All that you will go there, and then again after that quota is over, you will come back. So this is what we need to understand. This is what is the crust in this essence of knowledge which we should understand and cultivate. So what he says about the devotion, it clearly says here, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tad Aham Bhakti Upahatam Asnami Prayatana. Pratam Pushpam Palam. He doesn't tell you to worship like, in those days, meditating for so many years and all. All you need to do is just offer me with love and devotion, just a leaf or flower, fruit or water, I'll accept it. He doesn't tell you to elaborate food or any such thing. All he wants is to love him and with devotion offer just a leaf. So this can be done by any person, whether he's in the poor family or the rich family or uneducated. All he needs to be love him and devotion. With devotion, if you just offer that, he will accept. Even it doesn't say so many flowers and all that. Just a leaf or a flower, a fruit or what, I will accept it. So preparation, even the food you prepare, the how you serve, how you offer it, all that matters. It's all your, he's inside you, no? So he can know your intent, your intention and everything. He will understand everything. And accordingly, he says, if you do it with love and devotion, I will accept it. Yet karoshi yet adnashi yet joshi dadasi yet tapasyasi kaunteya. So whatever you do, all that you do, four things are there. All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as austerities that you perform should be done as an offering unto me. So here is very clear. He's not giving you ambiguity. He's not joking with this. All he says is, please be a real devotee with faith and think, don't be envious and just do everything for me. If you perform, it should be done as an offering unto me. That's what it is, Arjuna. You just do this fighting and everything is just for me. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me. I am also a friend to him. So he says, see, if he is rendered to him as a devotee, for him, he has a special care because he's not partial to others. He is equal to all. As a Paramatma, he will give whatever you desire, he will give. That depends on what you deserve. Okay. But if you are a devotee, but for the devotees, he is a dear to them because devotees are a friend to him. No, naturally, no, you will have, and you will be even in your daily life, how you treat with, if you're in the office and all that, you have certain respect for some people. But if your friend means, you'll be more relaxed and more informal, and you'll be more loving with them, isn't it? You'll exchange so many things. So here he says, to my devotees, I am a friend to him. He will take special care. Okay. And then he will guide them also. And he will also be like a Chetna Guru for them. But for the non-devotees, what can he do? He will just offer, he will give you whatever you decide, depending upon what you deserve. Okay. So even if one commits, and the pure devotees is always guiding, and commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. So even the minute you are decided, you are determined, and you are fixed in his saying that he is a supreme Lord, and they can, in that path, you might slip in some way or the other, because it's not that easy to be in the devotional service. You might fail in a way, make a mistake or anything, but he will not, he will not take a, he will, you should consider him as a saint person and not and don't abuse him, because he says he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. Because there was, I talked to you about the Madhavendra Puri there, no? So he was once, when he was in he has gone to, I don't remember which, Gopinath temple. So at that time they were offering some sweet rice offering, and he was thinking, I wish I could taste it so that I can, because he would have had a Gopala temple and he wanted to offer the same sweet rice to them. But then he realizes that before it was being offered to the Krishna, he has thought of tasting it. Because of that, he felt so remorse, he just comes away from that puja. He doesn't stay for the long. But what happens is, the pujari, he finds in a dream he gets that Krishna says, I have not, there's one pot behind the curtain, you go and give it to my devotee, he has not eaten. Then pujari comes and then wakes up and goes to the puja room, sees there's one pot hidden, and then comes to the marketplace where the search of Madhavendra Puri and says, see, the Lord has hidden this thing for you only, you should take it. So he was, even that small mistake, he thought he had made a big mistake. But Krishna says he should consider them as saintly because he is properly situated. And and he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. So, son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. So he is very clear. Once you be a devotee, and how you can be a devotee? By serving another. You have to be in association of devotees to know how to be a devotee. And For him, the Krishna is always partial. O son of Kunti, those who take shelter in me, though they may be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, as well as Sudras, can approach the supreme destination. So now he is giving the approaches. We saw one end as Mahatmas, and there are paths how that in between people can fall and things, but he says just by offering a pushpam, palam, all he needs is the love and devotion and devotional service. That's all he expects from us. Then if you weigh in this path, he will help you along the way. So you take shelter in me, then you can approach me, the supreme dimension. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me, being completely absorbed me. Surely he will come to me. Man mana, this is a verse, is very nice one, and you should always remember. Man mana bhavo mad bhakto. Mad bhakto means to be with the devotees. Mad yagi mam namaskaru. Mam eveshu yuktavayam. So engage your mind always in. Finally, he says how to go to him, how to reach his place, how to come to him is by always thinking of him. That is by chanting, offer obeisances, do the worship and worship me, being completely absorbed in me. Surely he will come to me. So you thinking.
Obeisances meaning?
Offer obeisances is your, that is your worshipping him, no? Worshipping him through deities. Obeisances is you pay respects. You are respectful to him, no? Thinking of him one and you respect him. You know him, he is the Supreme Lord. So you are respecting him. So you have to obey. That means we danta pranams, no? We fall down on our feet and do namaskaram, no? To the Lord, we do that. That is known as obeisances. Okay? And worshiping, you can have the deity and completely obey. So throughout the day, you'll always be thinking of it. Okay? That is what he says. He's not partial, he's all the time thinking. Worship me. So once you know how the truth about Krishna, what happens, you'll always be thinking, you'll always remember him and you'll never forget. And we can see him through the material world itself, no? And we can fix our mind and also we can be with the, whatever we do, we should remember. This is what is most important, manmana, bhavo, bhakto thing. So Lord personally reciprocates with his devotees, bringing them closer to him. Okay. And to the extent of surrender we have, to that extent he will reciprocate. He gives us the knowledge. He gives us the understanding. So we have to do the four things. What we should, whatever we do, that we saw that. So, okay. Lecture board that never pressures. Any comments? So we do things for him and we eat, whatever we do, whatever thing, we should always be do it as an offering to the Lord. And here he says, engage your mind always in thinking of me, offering the obeisances and worshiping me. We come to, then you will come to me. So we learned how to go to Krishna. So this was the Aishwarya Jnana. We got Raja Vidya, and that is we should, what is the qualification? We should not be envious and we should have faith in him. Okay, and we have to cultivate this knowledge. The knowledge is Raja Vidya, and we told him that who are we? We are the body and the soul. We are part and parcel of him, and our goal is to go back to him. And how to go back to him? Ways to approach. He told us Satatam Kirtiyantoma. That means always think of him and worship him Manmava Bhakto. So then he talked about the exclusive devotion. And then devotional service means there are 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Dashyam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Atmanivadana. But the most important is these 3. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Always thinking, glorifying. Kirtanam is you can do Sankirta Yagna. Shravanam is the chanting and things. So this approach to Krishna we saw, and we looked at the confidential knowledge, and also we talked about the Duratma. That is, a fools deride him. No? They think he's just a human being and not the Supreme Lord. And we saw the Mahatma who is all the time in the unalloyed, pure devotion. We saw that. So Ananya Bhakti is blissful. And what is that? It requires only positive engagement for senses. We are thinking of only chanting, doing all the works, things for the Lord. And they are simple to perform. And God accepts only love. See, just a patram pushpam phalam, he says. And we also talked about the ABCD principles, isn't it? And then we said in ABCD principles, association of devotees. When we say association, I just wanted to clarify, Mahatma engages in unknowledge services and should associate with such persons to solve our problems and death. It is said in Bhagavatam, in third canto, third verse, is sometimes misunderstood that if one has to associate means, excuse me, as a persons engaged in devotionals, he will not be able to solve the economic problem. To answer this argument, it's described here that one has to associate with liberated persons, not directly or physically, but try to understand through philosophy and logic the problems of life. So it is stated here, Samyak Darshanya Buddha, one has to see perfectly. And by intelligence and yogic practice, one has to renounce this world. Okay, because everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Everything can be engaged in the service of the Lord. Nothing should be used for one's sense gratification. That is real renunciation. So only thing is, let us constantly remember Lord by hearing about Him, by glorifying Him, by remembering Him, and by worshipping Him without us. So when we be with the devotees, then it is easy to do all this. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So with this, I end this chapters. If you have any doubts with them. Vancha kalpadrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo eva cha patitam nam pavanebho vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna. Chant and be happy. I will